Yalla, you gotta do the little dance. Welcome everybody to Everyday People on WJZZ Cool TV. In my name, I'm your host, Jesus Washington, and I have a very special guest, Miss Renitha Tate, and she is a very beautiful soul, and we are going to get to know her together. And Miss Tate,
Yes,
thank you so much for accepting the invitation. First of all,
thank you.
I greatly appreciate it. And now let's start with the first question for you is, can you tell me about your background and like the different things that you're involved in?
Well, right now I'm involved in promoting my book, and so that's been a long journey to promote the book. So we'll see how far it go, but I am open to suggestions for any.
Into it. And can like so the name of the book is called Pieces of a Puzzle, and the subtitle is the one thing black females will not talk about. Can you elaborate and tell us more what it's about?
Yeah, the piece of a puzzle. That title came from my brother's story, who was involved with a white woman at the time, and he they got as they came closer and closer together, they got involved with each other, and he ended up killing another black male, and that didn't sit with him too well. But the story is long, so if you get the book, you have a nice, interesting story.
And it talks about your brother in the
It
book.
talks about my brother, his story. So that's how I came up with Pieces of a Puzzle.
Yes.
Because he was set up to kill another black male.
So he did it or did not?
He did it, but he was her protector.
Oh.
He was her protector. So he ended up killing another black male over her. And when it all sunk in, he realized that he was set up.
By her?
That's right.
So it was like a love triangle.
Right. And he had a nervous breakdown at the time when he put everything together.
Right.
Yeah, he had a breakdown. So his story is long, but it's interesting because some of the things that the white woman done.
Wow. And it talks about all the things that like she's done.
Right, because she set him up.
Wow. And it's also like a collection of interviews of like females and males, and it's like a book of research.
Yes.
It's like you've done research.
That's right.
And the topic of the research is?
Well, the one thing black females will not talk about. That's the subtitle of the book. And I guess everybody say, well, then what is it that she won't talk about?
Right.
She will not talk about her interracial sex affairs. That's one thing that she keeps quiet. We know it's going on, but nobody is talking about it.
Right.
But we
Because
know
it's like a taboo?
Is
it a taboo in the black community, or?
I think we just don't talk about it. It's reasons that we don't talk about it. I believe I did my research, and one of the things because sometimes we are raped, and in some cases we are robbed of our self-respect. We feel shame and guilty. So these are a lot of things, because when you talk about racism, you have to talk about the system.
Yeah.
It's a system of racism, white supremacy. It's a system. So people are being hurt with this system, under this system.
Right.
And the way out of it is for everybody, which we tell black people to stop having sex with relations with white people.
Why would you like stop it? You know what I mean?
Because it's not doing any good. Black interracial relationships was here before I was born.
Right.
And it never stopped. Racism is still here.
Right.
So it's not stopping racism. So try something different. Try not getting involved sexually with white people until they produce justice.
So like put like boundaries.
Yes.
And do you think there's like a type of like healing that the black community or all of us need to do?
Yes. I think we got to first recognize what kind of system that we live under. And we don't understand the system, how it operates. So that's the problem. So when you don't know how, you can't, when you get involved with white men sexually, they require black females to do things in the bedroom that makes them feel ashamed and makes them feel embarrassed,
right,
guilty.
And that's based on the interviews that you've done with these women.
That's right.
And how many women did you use for this project?
I had 15 black women and I had 13 white men. I interviewed the white men first. They didn't know each other.
Right.
So I interviewed the white men first. Then I interviewed the black women.
Okay.
And so they didn't know each other, and it's a collection of interviews.
Right.
So the topic was sex and race.
Right.
So every white man that in the book, I asked them, have they ever been with a black female before?
Yes.
And they would say yes, or they make my blood boil and all this stuff.
They make my blood boil? Which way? Good way or bad way?
Yeah. So, but it's an interesting book. You enjoy it because it's a page turner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I definitely do appreciate you gifting me a book.
Yes.
And I do apologize for getting it in my vehicle. Okay. So the one, so basically your book, so we talked about how it was like a collection of a collection of stories of the males and the females. And then basically where like let's talk about the interracial aspect of the relationships that you talk about in the book. Like is it like can we talk about that?
What are we talking about?
You know how there's the different women that you had and different men, and then they all have stories. Can we talk about the different stories in the book?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to pick any character from the book that you talked about in the book, and we can talk about their story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's when I need the book. Because the stories are detailed. But mainly, in a nutshell, when they get involved with white men, there's effect.
When the black females
Get involved, they leave them with effect. I said they feel shame or guilty and all this and stuff, and that's because they are required to do things in bed.
Yes.
That will make you quiet.
Right.
Because and make you not want to talk about it. Okay, sex has a psychological effect.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Where you can have stress, fear.
Right.
Self-embarrassment, guilty feelings. Yes.
And now, did you put your story into this as well?
Yeah, my story's in chapter 1. Chapter 1, you open up the book, there's my story with a white man, and it's the reasons why I kept it secret. It's all in the book. Chapter 1 is long.
Yes.
Read
the book.
Read the book. That's right.
Yes, pieces of a puzzle. Go ahead.
The one thing black females would not talk about.
Yes. And can you tell us briefly your story?
Well, in my story, it wasn't a one night. It was like a one night stand. Some of the people in the book, some of the girls were just like me. They had one night stands, right. And then some of them had relationships. But the problem was they didn't get past 6 months.
Really?
The relationships didn't go past 6 months with the white men.
like they fought a lot? Like, was it like a difference of a culture?
No, I don't. Different reasons why they might have broke up.
Right.
But I didn't research that part about why they broke up. I was looking at the mental effect that it has on them.
Oh, yes. Do you feel like what people are taught at home affects also the relationships with different cultures?
What they taught at home.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the problem. We are not, black people, black females in particular, we are not passing down information.
Like what?
The type of, like the reasons why you should not have sex under the system of white supremacy. You should not have sex with white people, not until they produce justice on this planet. They having us they play toys. You're making it real nice and comfortable.
That's like literally a solution to like, it's kind of like taking a stand. It's taking a stand to stop the racism. It's like, okay, once you stop the racism, and then we will have a relationship with you.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's
what we want.
Towards.
That's what we want. In the long run.
Right.
We want to stop this sex thing because it's not doing anything.
Right.
It's not stopping racism. So you can't sex racism off the planet. You can't sex racism out.
Wow, that's deep.
That's deep. You can't.
I don't think anyone has had that conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Nobody is talking about it.
Only on Everyday People. Keep watching on WJZZ Cool TV. Well, we might as well take a station break, and then we will continue with that thought.
Okay.
You are watching Everyday People live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Make sure you like, you follow, you share, you comment, and you subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And to support the show, you can hit the Cash App, capital J 112233, capital W. أعزائي المشاهدين شكرا لمشاهدة Everyday People على قناة WJZZ Cool TV. And today's guest is Miss Tate. Okay, Miss Tate, let's continue our conversation.
Okay.
All right, yalla. So we were talking about how, like, your experience and the solution. You found the solution that basically women, black females need to basically stop sexualizing,
That's
white
right.
males, and so that they can basically understand, right?
Right, until they understand the society we live in.
Right.
Just like, for instance, if you just look at till we understand that white people are in charge. Okay? And among those white people, you have the racists, the white supremacists among those white people. And they are in charge. So that's one thing. We don't understand the system that we live under. And one reason is black people don't read enough. Because the books that is out there, everything that's being said in society cannot always be said in public. Sometimes it has to be written.
Right.
So we just don't read. If we read a little more, then we would be in a better situation, for ourselves.
Yes.
Yes, if we just read a little bit more.
Right. Do you recommend anything that they can read?
Well, there's the code. We're going to talk about racism. What black people need to know and understand is we under a system. The system is called racism, white supremacy. And if in that system, the white people have dominant control over not just black people, all over the world. They are in charge.
Right.
And this is their system.
Right. Okay, well, based on your studies and your book, did you interview with different age
group?
range?
Yes,
Age
it started at 17 for the girls, all the way up into the mid-30s.
Mid-30s, so from 17 to mid-30s.
Yes, and the white men, they were in their most of them was in their 30s.
Okay.
And it was that I interviewed. Most of them were in their 30s. The ones that I interviewed.
Right, and you never had older?
No, I didn't went no further than that. The 30s was the cutoff. Not that it was racism starts happening a lot with the new generation.
How so?
Well, every so often, because the young people are they ignorant. You know, they have to learn. They got to learn a lot.
Right.
So it's easy to manipulate them when they don't know.
No. Right.
It's
They don't have
easy
the
to
knowledge.
yeah, they have the knowledge, and it takes time for them to get the knowledge.
Right.
So a lot of things happen with the generation that's coming, each new generation.
Right.
Right. So what we're trying to do is we want to stop this secret that we have
Right.
with white men, because black females keep it a secret. So what we want to do is start talking about it on a, like we're talking now, everyday basis.
Right.
Because other than that, it's silent.
Right.
So when a little black girl grow up and she see a white man shaking his hair or doing everything, and she get involved with him,
Mm-hmm.
she got to know who she involved with. What is their objective?
Right.
What's the objective?
Right. So she has to know what's the objective before getting. So you're not like opposed to a black woman getting with a white man, but as long as she know what the objective is behind him trying to get with her.
Right.
Right.
Right. And what I'm saying, we are saying, or you could say the code says, no, we should not have sex with white people, black males too, because they get victimized.
Mm-hmm.
This is what my brother's story about. You can see how he got victimized.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So black males are being victimized too, messing with white women.
Mm-hmm.
And men, we know it's all over. Everybody messing, you know.
Interracial culture.
Yes. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so I said black females feel ashamed and embarrassed. This is why the subtitle of the book is The One Thing We Will Not Talk About It. So that's the problem. We're not talking about it. We're not passing information down.
Right. And then I know you had told me that a movie had inspired you to write this book.
Yes, it was Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner, The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard?
Yes, I was in college, and I was in Washington, D.C. at the time.
You were living there?
I was living there, going to school.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And I went to Howard University. I was going there.
Mm.
And the movie came on, and after the movie, they walked out from the theater. I had my little sheet, and it had a bunch of questions on it.
Uh-huh.
And I said, have you ever been a white man before?
Uh-huh.
Some of them said no. Some of them said yes. The ones that said yes, I was able to talk to about 15 of them.
Really?
15 black women that did say yes.
So after that movie, after you saw that, you went to interview?
Yeah, I went to interview.
Well, you were just inspired.
Right.
Did you talk about that in the book?
I talked about
by the movie?
Yeah, but who inspired me was a gentleman by the name of Neely Fuller Jr.
Uh-huh.
He inspired me because he wrote a book.
Mm-hmm.
His book is about racism also.
Yes.
Okay, so he's my mentor.
Okay.
He's the one that noticed that there's a secret that's going on, that black women just don't talk about this sex thing with white men.
Right.
They just don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We try to get to the bottom of why we're not talking about it.
Right.
So that was my assignment.
Mm.
He gave me an assignment.
So that was your assignment, and you took it to the next level.
Right.
Okay, now how did you get everyone how did you get everyone together? As far as like your, the interviews and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
well, I interviewed the white men first. The white men did not know the black women. Or they didn't know each other.
Right.
So there's separate interviews. I interviewed the white men first.
Yes.
And there was 13 of them.
Uh-huh.
I interviewed them first. And then I interviewed the women, the black females.
Right.
The black females, everybody was one-on-one with me.
Right.
Nobody knew each other.
Nobody.
Nobody.
They've never met each other.
They never
talked
met
to
each other. No. But the sex and the race conversation was on the table.
Uh-huh.
So I could ask them. I asked the black, have you ever been with a white man before?
Right.
And some of them said yes, some of them said no, the same thing,
Right.
So I just asked them, have you ever been a black female before?
Right.
And some of the white men said yes, some of them said no, they wanted to. They wanted to really get involved with me.
How? What do you mean?
Well, because see, I put an ad out.
Okay.
In the newspaper.
Uh-huh.
But I was asking for black males.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I opened up my mailbox and all these white males was there.
Why didn't you interview them?
And I ended up interviewing them.
Oh, I thought you ended up interviewing
Right. I said, sis, you got all off in my mailbox. I wasn't trying to get, I was trying to get me a black male. And then all of a sudden all these white men came in there, so I said, okay, I'll interview you all first then.
Right.
Yeah.
They came through for you.
And they came through. Yeah. And the book got sitting names like Mr. Nervous, Mr. Fit, Mr. Clean. That's how the book is set up.
So hold on. So you didn't use their real names.
Nah,
you
that's
used
right.
nicknames for them.
That's right.
Depending on their personality.
That's right. That's right.
That is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay. So I was can ask you. I had another question for you. Okay, and so basically, like, did you find like when you interviewed the males and then when you interviewed the females that there were like similar results in the conversation?
Well,
when you asked your questions.
Well, no, the black females were real confused. A lot of confusion in the interviews with the black females. They came out being real confused. Some of them talked about abuse, and some of them talked more about trying to have a relationship. I think they treat you better, one lady said. And I'm like, they don't. They know how to get us with kindness.
Okay.
Being sweet, nice, gentle. That's how he operates.
And you don't think it's
the
genuine?
racist.
You don't think it's genuine?
No, it's just, it's better to get her with kindness.
Because they want something from her.
That's right. So I'm going to be nice and kind to her.
To get something.
To get to what I want.
Uh-huh.
So it's not, so you'll walk in there and you was like, but you don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
You don't know his objective.
Right.
And when you're young, that's when they attack the most. The young generation, because they are ignorant. So if you're ignorant, you walk in the lion's den.
So you're saying the younger generation is more accepting of trying out or experiencing race other than the older generation?
Well,
or is not common?
You see a lot of it. You see a lot of activity around the younger generation.
The younger generation.
Yeah, a lot of activity because they are very ignorant and they don't know what they're walking into.
Right.
None of us knew because for so long, black females wouldn't talk about it. This is not just the current black female. We're talking about black females like my mother. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a long thing.
It's been dragging.
Decades. Right.
And it's so the younger generation.
They don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue because they were not taught, or
that's
they're
right.
Not taught?
They are not taught.
Really.
Right. So things are just moving, and that's why I said we need to first get this race thing over with before we have sex. Mm-hmm. We got a lot to do, black people. We do. Mm-hmm. Get this race thing together first before we start having sex, because sex is making more messier.
When you get involved emotionally, spiritually, and all of that.
That's right. It becomes a mess, So we need to really, step up to the plate and say, we're not going to do this. We want, you see all these black males being killed?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we need to come to the table and talk to white people and get white people to talk to us.
Right.
And talk about this race thing. And, and black people need a code of conduct. Mm-hmm. We need a code of conduct. Mm-hmm. how we conduct ourselves, and stop falling for everything that happens on television.
Mm-hmm. And become, I guess, more conscious?
You make us more conscious, yes.
Yes. All right. And as far as like the topic on sex, do you think sex is psychological?
Yes, I talked about that white men require black women
Mm-hmm.
to do things in bed that they're gonna be ashamed of.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we shouldn't have sex. So this is why we're not talking too, because we're ashamed.
The black women are ashamed.
Are ashamed.
Yes, they're ashamed because of like
What
what
he
they
had,
experienced.
what they experience. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, sex is psychological. They had it's they make you lose your self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
You lose your self-respect when you're doing things in bed that weird.
Mm-hmm.
You lose your self-respect like that.
Like for a woman or for a man or both?
Well, I'm talking about women right now. Because
Okay.
my book is about black females.
Black females, yes.
Yeah, so we're talking about her right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then okay, and then so basically what type of scare
What kind of Scott? Now that I'm gonna leave. That's chapter 1.
Yes.
Now that's chapter 1.
Yes.
You can read that. I keep that. Let
A
people see
secret.
it. Yeah.
It's like a mysterious.
Mysterious. Yes.
Yes.
You read chapter 1 because I open up the book with my story and I tell it all. I go
Right.
all the way down to
Detail.
very detailed.
Wow.
Yes. And this, that's a story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
My experience.
Yes. And
But it really wasn't no difference in my experience than theirs either. Other black females.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some of our experiences are the same. Sometimes you can read my story
Mm-hmm.
and might get a flashback.
Right.
And that.
So you're saying if they read your story, they could possibly get a flashback from their
Right,
experience.
from their experience.
And that's how.
Yeah.
So they can relate to your experience.
Right. And some of the other girls' stories are like that too.
Right.
If
sure.
I got 15 black females, so one gonna be able to identify with one of those 15.
Right.
One or two might identify
Right.
with those the stories. Their stories might be identical.
Yeah. And did some of these women like want to have like a long-term relationship with the white males?
Some of them wanted long-term relationships, and some of them was one-night stand.
Uh-huh.
But the relationships, the research showed that the relationship didn't even last 6 months. Or it got up to 6 months, and then the white male broke it off, or sometimes the female would break it. They broke up after 6 months. So it was really a sexual thing.
It was more of a sexual fling.
Yes.
And that's all it was. Like, it wasn't going to go beyond that.
Right. Not black and white people are married, get married. So we know that happens.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but it doesn't, even though they are married, it's still not doing nothing to racism. It's not affecting racism at all. So even if you marry them, you still got to deal with this race thing.
Really? Do you have to deal with that? But
we don't want to. Black people don't want to deal with it.
Right.
So we try not to deal with it. But sometimes if it hits us in the face.
So
and
in
we
the
have to
relationship,
deal
they
with
bring it out. It comes out in the relationship about the black and white race issue.
Well,
does it come in the bedroom while they're together?
Well, no, that part, no, that race thing, talking like I'm talking, that doesn't happen. Black females and the younger ones, they in the fantasy world. So
they don't talk about it with the white male.
No.
That would be like a really good study, though.
Yeah, we brainstorming.
That could be your next project. You know, we need to know, like, when they get together, how come they're not asking the juicy questions? Oh, does racism still exist? Do you feel this way about me? Do you feel that way? You know what I mean? I guess, like, if people talk about what happened, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the past to the black community as far as race.
Yes.
And that becomes, like, the topic to basically heal.
Yes.
And to move forward together.
Yes.
So that, like, our future generations can basically experience a world without racism.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
And that's the intention behind your book.
Yeah, that's right. The intention is to tell black females to stop having sex with white men. And black males too. But we're looking at the women now. Stop having sex with white men until they produce justice. Now they can do it overnight.
They could?
That's right, because we want a situation where no one is hurt.
Right.
And those that need help get the help.
Right.
And no one is hurt in the process.
Right.
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning of the healing process.
Of the healing process, yeah. But we have to stop this sex thing too. Because see, if you stop the sex thing, everybody comes to attention. See, not everybody floating around, everybody having sex with everybody and everything. But if you stop the sex thing,
yeah.
Talking to the females now, we stop that sex thing. You
will reach like an understanding.
Yes.
A higher consciousness of what it really means. You know, what you're putting yourself into, what type of situation.
Right.
You're kind of like stopping yourself.
That's right.
So that you can think.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. And that's a good part. Think. We're not thinking enough. Thinking things out thoroughly. You know, we're not thinking enough, you know. Because the information is there. I tell you, if you mess with a white man, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's how they make. I think the code tells us that the black female is the open back door into which the racist man parades his cycle of racism. We are the open back door.
The open back door.
Yep. Then where the racist man can parade his cycle.
Yes. Continue his
cycle. Yes.
The cycle of racism.
Yes. The cycle of racism, white supremacy.
And that's why the cycle just keeps going on, and that's why like we don't see a change yet.
Right.
So if all black women stand together, right?
Right. And said no, but we can't even talk about it. We can't even get to that point yet.
So step number one, we gotta talk about it.
That's right.
That's step one.
That's step one.
After step one, what do they have to do? We're gonna take them step by step.
Yeah, after step, you step by step.
Yes.
Stop the sex.
That's step two.
Yeah, stop the sex. That's step one. You gotta stop that sex right then and there, because that's where there's a lot of confusion, the embarrassment, the shame, all that stuff, psychological stuff, all that comes up in these relationships.
Right.
So we saying stop having sex with them.
Okay.
And here's the reasons why. The book outlines. You can look at the example of the stories that the females bring.
Right.
Yes. So.
This is deep.
Yeah.
This is a deep conversation.
Excuse me.
All right. Let's take a station break. You are watching Everyday People live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Make sure you like, you follow, you share, you comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And to sponsor the show, you can hit my Cash App, capital J 112233 capital W. أعزائي المشاهدين شكرا لمشاهدة Everyday People على قناة WJZZ Cool TV مع Miss Tate. All right, Miss Tate, the topic is getting juicier because you first of all you did the research. You have results.
Yes.
You have a conclusion.
Yes.
You have so this is like a thesis. Like this is like a college,
Right.
like trying to get a doctor's. That this is a if you're trying to get a doctor's degree, yellow. This is the book to get your doctor's degree with.
Right.
But you talk about you covered basically racism.
Yes.
And then sex, and then it's about black women and interracial relationships with white men, and it talks about the different issues that encounter with those types of relationships.
Yes.
And you also talked about the solution. You gave a solution
Right.
to basically stop the racism, and you talked about black women self-consciousness and self-awareness.
Yes.
About like what's going on out here, black history in America, and also like they need to basically read more and become more knowledgeable of their surroundings and who
Yes.
they deal with and all of that.
Yes. And
Right?
pass down information. Pass down, to your daughters and sons. But when we learn how these people think, and the people that control things are racist white supremacists. Now and then they built a system. The system, racism is fit right in the system. So once we learn what racism is and what it does, then we can put everything, put
Together.
the piece of the puzzle together.
Yes, and that comes to my next question. How'd you come up with the title of the book?
Well, that's why I said the title of the book came from my brother's story, Pieces of a Puzzle.
Right.
With his story, that's where the title came from. His tragic story, it was a tragic story, but from that tragedy came Pieces of a Puzzle.
Your book.
My book.
And what's his reaction on the book?
Well, he passed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he passed a long time ago.
My condolences.
He passed on.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was nothing but when you read his story, you'll see the victimization that he underwent, with this white woman.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and it was just sad. It's very sad.
But it's heartbroken.
Yeah, but it's a story to read. It's interesting, too.
Yes.
The whole book is interesting. I got to give everybody my website.
Yes. Why don't you share your website now, and then we're also going to share it at the end.
Okay.
Yes.
It's www.talksexsecrets.com.
Yes.
And there you'll see a copy of the book, and you can press on the Buy Now button, and you'll get your book. And it'll be in the mail to you right away.
Yes. So talksexsecrets.com. Make sure you check the website and make sure you support Miss Tate. And she has a huge story to tell. And the book is more detailed. Do you plan on turning it into a movie?
I haven't been asked, but we'll see. One day, if it get popular, it might, If we want to deal with truth, I don't know. Are we ready? Some people say they still not ready.
They're not ready
to talk about it. Yep.
We're in year 2022.
That's right.
Wouldn't you think racism would at least decrease in this time and era with the technology going on, and you know what I mean?
It's just getting more powerful.
What do you mean? It's getting worse?
No, yeah, I mean, you look at what's happening to the males. The killings of the black men like this. That's racism. So no, it's not changing, and things are just getting worse. So it's not changing anything.
Well, hopefully, your book will it's out there for people to become more conscious.
Yes.
And, to read what's really going on.
That's right.
The truth.
Find the truth.
Find the truth.
Yes.
Yes. If you want to know the truth, read the Pieces of a Puzzle. All right. Now, I have a lot of questions for you. Do you think interracial or like when different races get together into a relationship, well, do you think like certain emotions like start appearing or coming up, like different emotions while they're in the relationship?
Well, the I didn't, when I talked to the white man, I didn't really ask. I asked them, have they ever been with a black female before?
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them said yes and no, and then they wanted to get to know me, and then, so I'm I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about what did you, I kind of lost what you said.
Okay, like when they get into a relationship, do you think a black woman and a white man, when they get into a relationship, it brings out emotions in the both of them?
Oh, you okay? You asking me? Do you think they love each other?
Yeah.
Do you think that white man loved the black woman?
Yeah.
Not all of them. Some of them want and do marry black women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he says, so there's got to be something there.
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that because she married to a white man, it doesn't mean that racism don't exist
Within the relationship.
Yeah, the relationship still got racism in it. Because he's a white man, he in charge, they in charge. Right. And then the black female, we are subject to them. Mm-hmm. We are subject to them. And it can be easily victimized by them.
Mm-hmm. And like you don't find like do you know like the longest relationship between a black woman and a white man?
Well, I seen a 20-year marriage.
20-year marriage?
Yeah, but it doesn't. Racism is still here. That does interracial marriages don't help.
So you don't think that woman in that marriage, so you think like she goes through things in the relationship, but probably doesn't find a place to go talk about those different things in the relationship? You know what I mean? Like she's married for 20 years, right?
Okay.
And then she might go through the different experience racism within the relationship.
Right.
Do you feel like there is no community for those women to talk about those types of problems that they encounter within the relationship?
Well, we don't talk at all about it. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah, we don't talk at all about it. We just don't talk about this sex thing with white men. And it was a lady who did write a book about her marriage with the white man.
Okay.
But I didn't read her particular book. Mm-hmm. But I think it was called White Men and My Stuff.
Okay. White Man and
My Stuff. STUFF. White Men and My Stuff.
Should I ask you what that means or no?
Right.
Okay. And let's see. And then so basically from all these interviews, what was the conclusion?
The final conclusion was that, or my findings, what I found.
Yes.
I found that
based on your studies, because this is scientific research right here.
Yeah. I found out the number one sex that white men engage in with black women is oral sex.
Uh-huh.
It was found that the reason why black women are not talking about that, about the sex show she fares with white men, is because she either been raped or robbed.
Robbed from?
Her self-respect.
Robbed from her self-respect.
Right. So these are the reasons why she do not talk about it. And I don't know if it's going to stay like this, but I'm still the only one talking about it. You don't hear people having open and dialogue and conversations about that.
Yes. This is my first.
Right.
Well, my second, because I interviewed you before.
Right.
Yes. But you are right. A lot of people don't talk about those things. But do you believe, like, Do you believe that like there's a lack of understanding between the white males and the black females? Also,
Yeah.
a lack of understanding. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's why it's best to sit if you to do what I did before I decided to have sex with a white man. As I'm older now.
Yes.
What I did is talk to him on the telephone.
Okay.
Then I didn't get off that telephone with them and go to bed with them, and I just talked to him for a long time.
Right.
On the telephone, and then you can find out what his objectives are. Until you find that out, keep him on the telephone. Okay. That's the way I did my interviews. I kept them at bay on the telephone.
Right.
And I didn't let my feelings get caught up in going, because I was doing study. I was studying.
Right.
You know, find out about these white men.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
You were like typing while they were talking?
Yes.
Like while they're on the phone.
That's right.
You're typing.
Right. Exactly.
So you're multitasking.
Right.
And did they ever call you back? Did they, the people that you interviewed, did they ever get a copy of the book or anything?
No, because see, I didn't know their name. They didn't know my name.
Oh, it was all anonymous.
All anonymous. The whole book is all anonymous.
The whole book is all anonymous? So we're never going to get to meet the characters or nothing?
When I got them names I gave them, that covers up the real name.
Right.
But I didn't even have their real name. I made up the name.
Oh, you never asked them for their name?
Nope. This is just talking on the telephone. You in my mailbox? Have you ever been with a black female before? And of course they're going to say yes or no, because here I am, they talking to me. Mm-hmm. So they want to, so of course they're going to either say yes or no, or I'm interested in it,
Yes.
So the white men's interviews they open after my story. Mm-hmm. The book is set up with the white men interviews. So behind my story comes the white men. And that's how the book is set up. And then the black women are last. Okay, and then so we get a chance to see how he thinks. Mm-hmm. Now, and then you have to tell black people, all you got to do is look at your money, look at the dollar bill. Okay. Do you see anybody blackface on that dollar bill? No. On the $50 bill?
So we need to change that.
Now I ain't say we need to change the money.
No, we need to change the face, right? How come we don't have Obama, mashallah?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Those are things that people need to think about, right? Because it did take both races to build this country.
Yes.
And the fact that black people are also not giving credit for a lot of things that they've done and contributed.
Yes, that's true.
That's another reason.
Yes.
That racism exists and things like that.
Yes.
We don't acknowledge the hard work that both races put into this to make this into a country.
Yeah.
Right?
We got issues with white people because we got that issue of slavery.
Slavery, of course.
Yeah, we still got that issue still, And the question is, did it really change? We still have to go to work.
A lot of work.
And we still get abused on the job. Mm-hmm. We still kicked off the job, starting all over again. Mm-hmm. After you done been on a job, then you get laid off or fired, and then you got to start over again. So they keep us starting over and over. Now that's the racists. They keep us starting over and over.
Right.
Yeah, and you here 50, 70 years old, and you still looking for a job.
And that's the black community, most of the black community.
Yes.
What's the percentage you believe?
No, I don't know the percentage. Mm-hmm. But I was just looking at from now, what's going on now. You still got to continue to work.
Of course.
And then they keep changing the age limit. It was 67. I don't know how long. I think it's the last I heard was 67 before you can really retire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be like 67.
Yeah, well, more and more people are getting into self-employment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Opening up their businesses, and there's more of that now.
Yes.
And you see that a lot in all the communities, the black community and all the communities.
Yes.
Like it's thriving.
Right.
Do you see that?
Yes. Yes. So but we're still not enough. It's a long way to go. We got a lot to do, you know.
But I need a solution now. Something that people can practice or do. Something simple like now to make that change.
Read.
That's the number one. That's the number one
thing. Read.
Become knowledgeable of
to become knowledgeable about the system of racism, white supremacy.
And reading and become knowledgeable should stop racism, or it just gets a conversation out.
You can develop your own ideas, but if you read, you can develop ideas. See, we want a solution to this black males getting shot by police.
Right.
That's racism. We want that to stop.
Right.
But once you read, we don't know what you're going to come up with in your own mind.
Right.
The more people read, the more their mind develops. And we don't know what another person to come out being a star or whatever, you know. A real person for justice, you know.
Right.
Yeah, somebody come out, a real person for justice.
So we need to stop the animosity that's going on.
Yes.
Right?
Read. Stop having sex with white people. But when you read, then you can stop having sex with white people. But you got to read to find out why.
Right. You have to have the knowledge.
Right.
And
so that's a place we can start by reading, so we can get that knowledge.
Yes. Yeah. So everybody needs to start their movement. So everybody need to start their movement. No more sex.
Right.
No more sex until there's an understanding between the races. Right.
That's right.
So that we can heal and move forward together.
That's right.
So that we can have a better community for our future generations, so that they don't experience the racism that we're experiencing now and we have experienced in the past.
Right.
Okay, so we have a couple more minutes left.
Okay.
And I just want to say you are watching Everyday People Live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and other social media platforms. Make sure you like, make sure you share, you comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And to sponsor the show, you can hit the Cash App, capital J, 112233, capital W. And today's guest was Miss Tate.
That's right,
Renitha Tate. And Miss Renitha wrote a book called
Pieces of a Puzzle.
And it's about racism, and it's also about sexuality.
Yes.
In regards to black females, and in relationship to the white males.
The white males,
right. And having a interracial relationship.
Yes.
Do you want to go ahead and give your information one more time?
Okay, it's
where they can buy your book and your website?
Yes, the website is www.talksexsecrets.com. www.talksexsecrets.com.
Yes. And make sure you support Miss Tate, and make sure you check out also our next week's podcast. I am going to have a very special guest. His name is White Loaf. He's a rapper. And so on Everyday People, we always have different types of personalities, and with different backgrounds and different talents. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for continuing to support the show. And hopefully we will basically see everybody next week. And for the end, we are going to play the song.
Okay.
And enjoy the song together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.